Hi, this is Akshat. I work as a developer at Maxim. In this video, we'll be spending some time on node level evaluation, which help you evaluate trace or its component like a span, generation, or a retrieval. That means you can apply evaluators from Maxim Evaluator store on components of a trace like a span or a log, right? So what I've done is I've created this US elections conversation bot, and using Maxim's SDK, we are going to push the logs to Maxim log repository, and for that log repository, I'm going to configure the evaluation. So I go to logs. I am going to create a new log repository. So I'll create a repository. Let's call it as US elections repo, and let's create it. Let's continue and let's copy this log repo ID. I'll go to my notebook secrets of my collab notebook, and the repo ID which I have over here, I'm going to replace it with this new log repo ID. So in my notebook secrets, I have enabled Maxim API key, my LLM key, and now as you saw, I have enabled Maxim log repo ID also. So let me just install Maxim Pi, and after that I'm going to import some of the required classes for pushing the logs or creating a generation config or creating a span, attaching a span with the trace, and then pushing to Maxim SDK, Maxim log repository. So let's run this. Let's run this where I'm going to create a new logger object. Cool. Now I'm going to create some tools which will be attached to my agent. So first of all, I have get candidate info, for which I'm just making an HTTP call to Wikipedia and getting the information about US candidate for the elections. And the next agent is also making a HTTP call to Wikipedia, which is getting some facts about the elections or doing some fact checks, right? And then I'm going to create this chat class. In the constructor, I am setting the system message that I'm going to get, and messages list will be empty. And as soon as a user puts a prompt, that will be added as a user role message. And if we get a response from the assistant or the LLM, then that message will be added to this list as assistant message. Okay. And then I'm going to create this generation config, which has this name, provider, because I'm using model Gemini, so provider is Google, messages list in the state, and then the start timestamp. Okay. And then after that, I'm going to make a LLM call, and as soon as I get the response back, I'm going to add this assistant message with the content, which is the result of the inference in the messages list. Okay. And after that, I'm creating this election React agent. Over here, I'm defining the system prompt that, hey, you are an unbiased factual assistant specializing in US election candidates. Attach the tools with this agent. So first of all, I'm going to create a new session, and that session will be visible on the Maxim log repository. Use a logger.session to create a new session and then create a new trace. And to this trace, I'm going to attach the spans. So as you can see, I've created this new trace ID. I'm using UID, and then I created a trace. You can provide some metadata if you want. And after that, whenever I have an event like an LLM call or a tool call, that will be attached to this trace as a span. As you can see, toolspan.event, if I made a tool call, if I made a LLM call, that all is attached to that trace. Awesome. So now I'm going to invoke this agent with a prompt from the user. Tell me about Joe Biden. And this is the second question. This is the third question. So I'm going to have three spans in one single trace. Okay, so let's run this. I forgot to run the previous cells. So let me run from here. Yes, let's run this. Okay, so as you can see, session with this ID is created, trace is created, and then trace was ended. Then the second conversation, great. So if I go over here and if I just run, if I just refresh this, I should start getting my, I should see the session. Yes, a session is created. Inside this session, I'm having a trace. And for every span, you can see the data. Like this is the Gemini generation, this user message, the action taken by the assistant. Then I can go ahead and see the tool execution that took place, candidate information, and everything. And finally, I can also see the final response that was generated. Okay, great. Now what I need to do is I'll go back and configure the evaluation. I'll resume this, and over here I'm going to add evaluator to the single response because I'm having a single turn agent. And for this, let's add bias, let's add conciseness, let's add clarity, let's add these three evaluators. And I'm also going to enable a human evaluator of correctness. Now let's save this configuration. And over here, if I just run this agent again, let's run it again. I should see another session over here. With that, my evaluation pipeline should also be triggered and I should see the evaluator results over here. So as you can see for this new session, I'm able to see the evaluation report. So bias was 0, so that means there was no bias in our answers. Clarity has failed with 0.5 score and conciseness has also failed with 0.75 score. Okay, so we can see the reasoning behind these scores. So both statements are factual or present a balanced view of differing opinions without showing bias. The first statement is a factual claim about Donald Trump presidency, and the second statement acknowledges the existence of a debate without endorsing a particular viewpoint. So that means there was no bias in our answer. For the second evaluator, which is clarity, which failed, this is the reasoning. You can read it, and this is the third evaluator, and this is the reasoning. So you can also view the cost, the tokens consumed, the latency, the time taken for these evaluators to complete their task. So this is how node level evaluations work in Maxim. And if you want to learn more about these evaluations, you can check out this docs page. I'll attach it in the description. Till the next video, all the best for your AI journey.